how could I possibly sweat with my cool customer friend Arid next to me? Right?
Do you remember the antiperspirant Arid?
I do.
You can't, with Arid, you're always cool and dry.
Yeah. Rule number 1, always look cool. There it is, Arid.
And don't use antiperspirant in real life. That's a terrible idea. I'm pretty sure it
Deodorant
causes
versus,
cancer.
they did not allow us to show up with antiperspirant in Special Forces Assessment and Selection. You're supposed to sweat in life.
Yeah.
And if your body wants to sweat, it's how you cool yourself down so
Let's
you can
sweat.
do more awesome stuff. The sweat is what helps that process go along, so you need to sweat.
Yeah, so don't use antiperspirant. The Arid rucksack, though, always look cool.
Always look cool.
And then you probably don't even need to wear deodorant if you have an Arid rucksack, because even if you smell bad, it's just you're overwhelmingly cool.
Plus, it's really good if you want to sort of go over to some type of Eastern Bloc country and, preserve the values that we hold dear in case, someone wants to start some type of an insurgency.
Yeah, whenever the next annexation takes place.
You're there with Arid.
With the Arid ruck, you'll fit right in with the Eastern Bloc countries.
Yeah, or in the mountains of Afghanistan.
Yeah, go free the Crimea.
Easy.
Do some
Arid.
cool stuff.
Boom.
All right, so on that note, we're so sidetracked already. So
this is like take 4, by the way. Facebook did not deliver the promise on Black Friday, so we're at take 4.
yeah, every time Facebook takes a shit, there's more beer consumed, there's more sidebar conversations, and the quality of the podcast just goes like this.
Yeah.
Or maybe like this. I don't know.
I think
You
it's
tell
going
us.
up. I think it's going up.
Yeah. So it's Black Friday. We're at work, obviously,
Yes.
because we're a small business, and whether we like it or not, we don't make the rules in life or business. We're working on it, but we're just not quite there yet.
We're not quite there yet.
There are some rules we have to play by, and one of those is that we come into work on Thanksgiving morning. We make sure that we have our shit together.
Yeah.
And then we work on Black Friday, because today is a big day for us and for everybody out there in business, really.
Yeah, so it comes down to expectations. And, we're a very, very small but powerful fish
Punch above our weight.
in the landscape of retail and the buying and all of that stuff. And so, customer, we don't view you as customers, but, if you buy something, that's the technical definition, I guess. But people expect that there's going to be a deal. And so, expectations, think about the times when you've been right, but someone else's, maybe you love them, maybe, whatever, maybe there's a dispute over something because someone's expectations were not met. Like you forgot to take the trash out or, something fun like that, and then
You didn't do anything bad.
You didn't do anything
You
bad.
just didn't do enough things right to meet the expectations.
Did not meet their expectations, right? You forget an anniversary. You didn't do anything bad.
That's something bad.
Yeah, but
Okay.
or you didn't do well enough remembering it. All these different ways. But it comes down to expectations. So everyone expects there to be some promotion, some whatever, and ideas are not as important as execution, and theories aren't actually as important as how people vote with their wallets. And so people vote with their wallets, and Q4 is kind of up 30%, I think is what Amazon is expected to be up.
Yeah.
Q4. It's just everybody buys more stuff, and so we have things that we sell, so we play that game a little bit.
Yeah, that's eyeballs are out right now. People are shopping, wallets are open for the most part, and so, for the health of our business and for our community more broadly, we play in the game. We have deals, some pretty good ones for Black Friday and for the holiday buying season, and I have no problem with that. The other thing that makes me feel a little better about it is that we're basically an e-commerce shop, so we sell things online, and so your ability to buy a few things from GORUCK.com or whatever your favorite online retailer is, it doesn't really detract from your ability to take said products or the rest of your life for that matter and still go do awesome stuff. And I think that's, I would never encourage anyone to go wait in line for 2 days. Like that just blows my mind that's like the buying behavior of getting up super early and like fighting people at Walmart to get the Tickle Me Elmo. Like none of that ever made any sense to me. Rolling out of bed and like opening up your phone and getting a good deal on a ruck or whatever, like that's different, because at the end of the day, we want people to go do more awesome stuff. Do events, do rucking, do adventures, do friendship, do all those things, and to the extent that our stuff, to the extent that any awesome stuff helps you do more awesome stuff, then that's good. Don't go stand in line though.
Yeah, so my only favorite wait in line story is when I was a kid, my dad
If it's
and
your
I,
only, then it's by default your favorite. Or maybe, I
my
don't know.
only favorite. I mean, because any other line, whoever wants to wait in a line, right?
Okay.
I don't. But we waited in line for Grateful Dead tickets, my dad and I, and you know, it's unfortunately Jerry died, so never got to go. But waited in line.
Experience of waiting in line.
Waited
with your
in
dad.
line at, you know, this is back in the day when Ticketmaster, you could go to these sort of record shops, and that's where you got your tickets, you know? And there was all sorts of, the process of being there was, you know, really what should happen is the guy standing at the cash register should just, the second it turns on, should just click buy, 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 buy. Because you know it's good because you got 200 people standing out of Town and Country in Dayton, Ohio, or Kettering, Ohio, right? And there's this old record shop there. But anyway, camped out, you know, got the tickets, didn't get to see the show, but it was about the experience. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of showing up Black Friday at Walmart and maybe getting stabbed from behind or something, you know, fighting over $50 of a TV. It's no thanks, right? So
we've talked a lot about this week. We both love Thanksgiving. My favorite holiday, and it's not even close, has been forever. It takes on a little bit of a different feel when we work here because we come into work early in the morning on Thanksgiving. We weren't here all day. I think we were here for 3 or 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
Making sure that everything was running smoothly and stuff, but still managed to have a pretty awesome day despite the crappy weather we had yesterday and coming to work. But how has that changed your view of Thanksgiving, having been in this for the last, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years?
So there's a real commitment to compartmentalization when it comes to Thanksgiving. So, you know, I mean, this is not meant to be some sort of depressing thing, by the way, right?
Oh, woe is us. We're working.
Yeah, no, there's lots of awesome stuff out there.
We were drinking beer at 9 in the morning.
Yeah,
so
you can
it was okay.
you can get some deals on some stuff, great. I guess the thesis is, though, it's still, you know, what are you going to do with the people that have shown up, right, at your house or whatever? You know, those in-laws or those family members or whatever the case may be.
Friendsgiving, it's a big deal now.
You can probably go out and find something awesome to go do with them that, you know, will make it suck less, just to say it succinctly, right? Because everyone's so, you know, these people are in town and it's hard. Like, go do something then. Go do something. And oh, by the way, shopping as a hobby, you're probably not going to have the you know, on your deathbed, you're probably not going to say, oh man, those times I just went shopping on Black Friday with my dad. It was just really special, you know? So look, we're sort of, this is a nuanced discussion of sorts about how we should live our lives. I mean, or how we do live our lives. And, you know, for us, we're a business. The lights go off, and the other values that we promote and the value that we bring in terms of, you know, bringing people together and all of that, you know, building a bridge between the military and the civilian world, ultimately we're not able to do those things if the business doesn't thrive. So we have to be a great business. We're playing by someone else's rules. Those rules say, you know, if you have inventory, excess inventory, and by the way, every retailer always has excess inventory. You just cannot perfectly predict demand. So I've played this game where, you know, up into 2013, we basically said, whatever, no sales, because we just didn't.
Our stuff's that good.
I
no
prefer
sales.
that. Frankly, I prefer that. It's sort of like I would prefer to just, you know, like be a total purist all of the time, right? But sometimes you just can't do it. You will literally go out of business. And so having more of this inventory and less of that means the stuff that is you have more inventory of that you don't expect to sell as quickly or you don't have as much on order means that you have to move that in order to, you know, turn inventory into cash. If you don't do that, then you can't
buy more inventory.
You can't buy more inventory or run more events or do more other stuff. So, you know, cash is oxygen to a business. It's just oxygen. And inventory is a really easy way to get cash.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've tried really hard and we're still working on it, but we kind of run the business the same way I think that we try to run our lives, which is like stockpiling stuff is not a good strategy.
Yeah.
So like we're looking to stay kind of lean and nimble and stuff comes in, stuff should go out. Like we have no aspirations of having millions of dollars worth of stuff in the warehouse just so we can have all this stuff. I think that's like a good analogy. You want to kind of run your business the way that you run your life, which is like stockpiling, having inventory and having stuff on hand can be death to a business. You know, if cash is the oxygen, inventory can be the anchor. You know,
It's
so
like, have you
gotta
seen
turn it
those shows?
smartly.
Have you seen those shows where they come in and those pack rats are there and they can barely move in their own
Like
house?
the hoarding shows?
Yeah, the hoarding shows. It's like
I have a hard time watching those shows because it makes me.
I just threw up a little bit in the back of my mouth, right? It's bad, you know, and that's essentially what a business can become if you don't figure out a way to move it. So look, I mean, we would love to be able to perfectly predict demand and perfectly be able to say everything is just smooth all the time. But there are things like order minimums, and there's cash flow considerations, and there's, hey, you try something new, who knows what demand is going to be, and you try, and it either way exceeds or it's not quite. I mean, you guys, your vote matters more than ours. We do what we can to try to sort of predict it and also kind of say, hey, this is awesome stuff, this is what we love about it. But ultimately, how people vote with their wallet shares determines what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to really deeply believe in your stuff, which we do. I mean, I love all of our stuff. I pretty much only wear our stuff and use our stuff now at this point, but we care more about what our customers and what our community cares than our personal preferences on some of this stuff. And we get some stuff right and we get some stuff wrong. We made those half zips. We made way too few. They sold out like that.
Yeah.
And so then we were caught like, oh shit, we ran out of half zips. We should probably figure out a way to make more, which is not easy, by the way, to get that all figured out. And sometimes we go with a new color or something on things and people don't like it as much as we hope they would. And that's how it works.
I mean, fortunately, Arid is it's
killing it. Thank God.
Killing it.
Man.
Right? I mean, a lot of people hitting up East Bloc countries, mountains of Afghanistan, stuff like that.
I mean, it's expensive to ship those things to like Poland and Croatia and stuff, but like they're flying off the shelves. It's unbelievable. The people in Eastern Europe that are doing this. So with that said, you're talking about the rules and like how, like sometimes this is something I think is really important, by the way. There are some things in life that aren't necessarily fair or right, but they just are, and you have to at some point be willing to accept them. And I think all of us, you and I included, would like to believe and work really hard to sort of shape our own existence and kind of cut our own path through things and say, look, we can play by our own rules and we don't have to be beholden to all the status quo and all that. That's fine, but there are some things that exist in life that they just are, and you're much better off to sometimes accept the realities as they exist and learn to thrive within that construct, right? And the example we were talking about before we turned on the camera was, I went to Ranger School after the Q course. I was a captain in the Army. I'd been to war, been to the whole Q
Green
course.
Beret. You were already a Green Beret at this point.
Yeah, I had been to the Sapper Leader course, I'd been to all the Q course, and I'd been to combat. But my first battalion commander, at the time, Lieutenant Colonel Don Bolduc, who was a great American and was a great commander.
Cheers to you.
General Bolduc, here's to you. I sent him a note and I was like, hey, do you want me just to come straight there? Or do you want me to go to Ranger School? And he said, go to Ranger School. And that's a pretty strong, if the battalion commander says, hey, we don't need you that bad, Captain, like go ahead and go to Ranger School. And my attitude toward it, very, very frankly, was I didn't think I needed it. I thought it was stupid. I didn't think I was going to learn anything from it. And I didn't want to waste my time. I was eager after 2 years in the Q course or whatever it was, and 6 months of Arabic.
Ugh.
I just wanted to go be on a team and be back in the Army and get back in the fight. And he said, you need to go. And so I had a little bit of a salty attitude about the whole thing. But about 12 hours before I was supposed to report, because the worst day of Ranger School is the day before you start. Everyone knows that, because you're just anxious and nervous. And I didn't want to go. And I just had this sort of epiphany about 12 hours before. I was like, I'm here. I'm sitting at Fort Benning in my like little, BOQ room or whatever it was I was staying in, and I was like, I got to show up at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. I got to get this shit done. This deal has already been made, so I'm just gonna take a good attitude about this and get
Probably
it done.
worse than not going would be to fail.
Oh yeah. At that point, you're completely invested in success, right? But the flip switched for me, and I just sort of accepted what was instead of trying to buck the system. Because at that point in my life, as a young captain in the Army, I didn't have the ability to change the rule that, look, if you're an SF captain, if you're an infantry officer, like you should go to Ranger School. So I just went, I just sucked it up. And I did my 60 days or whatever it was and got my Ranger tab and moved on with life. And I'm very glad to this day that I went. I'm actually grateful for the experience. I did learn some things there. It wasn't
Honor
the end all be
graduate
all,
or
but
something fun like that, right?
whatever. And but I went back, and I'll tell you what, I shook.
He's got this knife in his garage. It's awesome.
It's a dagger, I think.
Dagger.
Actually.
It's even better. It's a dagger.
Yeah. it only belongs in the garage. There's nowhere
Yeah.
really in the house that's appropriate for such a thing, but like
Yeah, so it's
hanging
like,
in the garage next to your squat rack is
Jenny
okay.
and Emily, they got a lot in common. His
Our
wife,
wives?
Jenny, my wife Emily, got a lot in common, right? They don't let you have all your best shit inside. I don't know why, right? I don't know why. Sometimes you're
'Cause it's
playing
not
by,
your
you're
house.
playing
It's
by
not your
other
house. It's
people's
our house.
rules, right?
right.
Sometimes you're playing by other people's rules. That's why, for instance, GORUCK Scars, the PX here, it looks so awesome. Emily does not let me put all my best shit inside the house. My house would look like this.
I know, because I've been to your house in DC.
Yeah, my house in DC, and the team house looked like this. It was awesome. People would walk in, they say, man, this is awesome, right?
Now your house is lovely.
It's
and we were there for
lovely now.
Thanksgiving yesterday. It was lovely.
It's lovely. I enjoyed my time. Your pops had a couple Keystone Lights. I had a couple Budweisers. I learned Cape Coral is the second largest city in Florida behind the great city of Jacksonville.
True.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, it's lovely, right? This is awesome though, right? These are our rules, GORUCK rules here.
Yeah. So
And
that's
it's awesome.
But that's the point, right? Here inside our building, we have pretty much full autonomy to make our own rules.
I just spilled a little bit.
and we
Not
choose.
gonna lie, I just spilled a little bit. Hey, you know what happened? It washed right away. Just the half sip,
right off
just
the
like,
polar
hey,
tech.
no problem, got it.
So sometimes, wow, it's Black Friday. We've been at it a while.
Hair of
So-
the dog too, right? Hair of the dog.
So in our own little kingdom, sometimes we can choose not to play by other people's rules. So like we don't have printers and copiers and crap in here. Like we choose to play by our own rules. There are some kind of macro rules that while we might like to be different, at this point in our lives, at this point in the business, we can't just change all the rules. So we choose to kick ass within the rules.
Yes.
And that's really, I think that's been my personal kind of secret to success professionally my whole life is that learn to do your own thing and carve your own path when you can and refuse to just like schlep along and accept the status quo, but also learn to thrive within the construct of the rules when you know you just can't change them. And that's kind of where we're at now. And I think what's been interesting to me is you see companies like REI last year, when we've seen Patagonia, which is a pretty mature company at this point, they're probably $1 billion company. They seem to be bucking the rules in a macro level. What do you think about it? Are they really doing that? Because I respect both those companies a lot, but are they really bucking kind of the macro rules by like closing stores on Black Friday or running ads that say don't buy this sweater? I mean, is it just clever marketing? Are they really bucking the rules, or is it something in between?
I think they're carving out an awesome conversation piece to have about what all of this means. Why are we buying things? And those are two brands, REI and Patagonia, that are certainly about go outside, go do something, right? And with GORUCK, we're the same. We stress the community part in a big way as well. But relative to those ads, you close your shop on Black Friday if you're REI, and you run an ad, Patagonia, sort of a famous one, don't buy this sweater. Basically, if you don't need it, right?
Yep.
Like use less in your life. And, I think it's a really smart way to go about it, right?
Yeah.
It's instead of just saying, oh, this cost, $100, now it costs 75 because it's Black Friday. If you engage in a conversation, it's really hard to have nuanced conversations anymore, right?
Yeah.
And,
Amen.
and
God dang.
everything turns into clickbait. You take one thing from one place about one person who's turned into whatever that people associate them as, and it's just clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. And so, one of the things I enjoy about this is that there is a lot of nuance. And so I think that it's good for business for both REI and for Patagonia, and I think it strengthens their values and their base, and I think it lets them have a conversation on their terms. And oh, by the way, REI.com is not shut down on Black Friday.
Oh, okay.
And oh, by the way, there's plenty of people, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm very confident there are plenty of people who work at REI that are working on both Thanksgiving and Black Friday and whatever Saturday and whatever Sunday and Cyber Monday and all these things. They're working their asses off. But I think, look, instead of just sending a snipe around that says, oh, let me be really cynical about this because you guys are actually making more money because your website's open and all that stuff. Right. I think it's awesome that they want to have a conversation about saying, hey, there's certain things that we really value. And tactically with REI, they are giving a lot of people the day off, right?
Yeah.
On whatever, is it Thanksgiving or they shut
Black
down?
Friday.
They shut down on Black Friday.
Yeah.
But not Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know the answer to that.
Maybe Ballmer will check it out. I mean, if I were an employee there, I would rather have Thanksgiving off. But
It's probably both.
That's
if I had to
just me.
guess. But for the retail stores, anyway.
But I'm also not here to sit and say that I judge you because you were on your phone and you bought something on Black Friday and it was a good deal, right? Like, you know, if I'm not at work, oh, by the way, I'm half of the childcare at the house, right? Sometimes that involves Ryan on my front with a bottle turned, mostly north-south, the nipple south, so he can get as much milk down his throat as possible.
His neck is so flexible. How he's able
Right?
to do
Just
that.
go,
Yeah.
right? It's awesome. Good for him. And in my other hand, it's, what's going on the Tough page, or, what's the latest picture of Penny that Blayne's posted on his Instagram feed. It's awesome, trading a couple notes with old Cadre Danny Boy about, he posts these awesome pics of his kids up in DC, and, it's like that stuff's fun. Sometimes that means, hey, I know that I want to go do something awesome, right? And so I'm going to get something on Black Friday or on some other day because it's on sale. That's pretty logical as a consumer. That's what I would do. So we're not sitting here saying, oh, judgment, like out the window.
No, I think what you just said, I think, is maybe the best point, at least for me, is that I have nothing against stuff or against buying stuff. And and I'm also, as we've said on this show several times, a reasonably frugal person, right? So if you can get a good deal on great stuff, I'm the first person in line. I'll probably go home at some point today and look on a couple of my favorite websites and see if I can get some stuff that I need. But only if it's stuff that I need and will use to do awesome stuff. So, by all means, have stuff, but just have good stuff that you can do stuff with.
The gods will be angry.
Whole thing. Yeah,
the gods will be angry if your GR1 sits in the back of your closet unused. The gods will be angry.
Yeah, and look, we mean that sincerely. Don't have a $300 ruck to do nothing with it. Like, go use that shit. That's the whole deal. So, yeah, if you want to do awesome stuff, you just work your way backwards. So if you want to do awesome stuff, you're going to need at least a few, probably not a lot, but you'll need at least a few awesome pieces of kit to do it with.
Yeah.
A ruck, your gear, your boots, whatever, your tent, whatever it is you're doing. So have relatively few pieces of awesome kit, and then invite your friends to do that awesome stuff with you. It's pretty straightforward, and we haven't perfected it, but we are planning a pretty awesome trip in January with some good dudes. Spur of the moment, which is actually the idea of my wife.
Spur of the moment, my ass. You got the green light from your wife, Jenny.
Spur of the moment to all you guys. It wasn't to me.
Yeah,
I made sure that it was good.
And then Blayne sends a note out to 8 or 10 old Army buddies, a motley crew of sorts, I'm sure, from various parts.
Oh, they're motley. Yep.
But, and then makes it seem, hey, I just got to know by tomorrow. Meanwhile, he's been begging Jenny for 6 months,
That is
right?
not how it happened.
Finally, Jenny's like, oh, okay, whatever drug deal you had to make in order to get this done, right? And then he's like, hey, I just need to know by tomorrow, no big deal, right? We can go hike this awesome thing and go do something, whatever. But
look, if you want to do it, you'll just commit to it and you'll make it happen. You'll set up the drug deal that you need to set up to make it happen. I already set up the drug deal.
I already set him in.
There's no drug deal. I told you it was her idea.
There's always a drug deal.
She's here.
There is always.
In the room. We can ask her.
Okay, drug deal is synonymous with quid pro quo. So let's define our terms. Drug deal, quid pro quo. Oh, remember that time you went and did that thing? Have you ever heard that?
No.
Oh. Oh, by the way, did anyone just hear that Jenny's here?
Unless it was an awesome thing. Then she's like, remember that time you did that awesome thing?
Yeah.
You're so cool. You do so much awesome stuff. I really love you. And I'm like, man, you're awesome too. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's how we do things.
So I, it's a timely thing. It's one of my favorite stories I've heard in a while. I want to hear the story from you about frugality, about where you got the beer for your dad, and then how that sort of came full circle.
Yesterday? Yeah. Okay, so my dad, who is also a great American.
He's a great American.
Veteran of the United States Army. And my mom, also a great American, largely for putting up with my dad, but that's a whole separate thing. My dad's favorite beer is Keystone Light. He was a hardcore Budweiser drinker for a long time. Did you know that? Yeah, red can.
First time I used to throw back some red can myself.
Well, the whole story on that is that Budweiser was red cans, and I think it was Labatt's were blue cans. And so when you'd ask your buddy at the bar, because back in those days, in like the 70s, there wasn't 30 kinds of beer on tap. Most
It was
bars,
beer flavored beer, all of it.
Yeah, and you could have red or blue.
No blueberry stuff.
Yeah, you could. So that's what you'd ask your buddy if you're going to buy a round. You say, do you want a red or a blue? Which meant, I think my dad can correct me, if it was a Bud or a Labatt's. Because there was no light beer back then either. That was before the advent of light beer by Miller Lite. And so anyway, it's kind of like McSorley's in New York City. Have you been there?
Yeah.
That place is the best. Do you want a light or a dark? That's great. Light or dark. I don't even know what kind of beer that is. It's just either light or dark.
It's like the type of place that you walk up to and you say, what's good here? And they say, that's what the menu's for.
Yeah.
Those are the types of places that I love.
Only 2 kinds of beer. I think they have cheese and crackers on the menu, and now they have Feltman's hot dogs, which is the first new menu item they've had in like 100 years or something. So congrats to my buddy Joe Quinn and Feltman's hot dogs and figuring out how to make that happen. I think no matter how much money they make on hot dogs, they've paid it back in beer over the last 20 years. So it's still, anyway. My dad, Keystone Light, which, by the way, point of trivia that he'll be upset if I don't include, Keystone Light is actually just Coors Light rebranded in a different can, market segmentation, something like that. So I'm pretty confident that's true too. Don't sue us, Coors Brewing Company, if that's not exactly right, but basically that's the deal.
We heard from his dad, so it's fact.
My dad said it, so it's fact. My dad would kick your ass. Anyway, so Keystone Light, he likes Coors Light, so if we're out and about, he'll get Coors Light. But at the house, he wants Keystone Light because it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's a volume play,
and
guys.
He says,
it's a volume play.
He
you
says
get
it's
it.
actually better, which there's no way that's true. But free beer does taste better, and so maybe cheaper beer tastes better too. Anyway, my dad likes Keystone Light. It's all he ever has at the house. And when he comes to visit, you can't just get Keystone Light anywhere. It's generally available, but it's not at every store or whatever. He wants no part of whatever's in the fridge. Although he did drink some Budweisers the last time he was here.
Yeah, your dad and I get along pretty great.
Yeah. So we try, if we can, to at least have Coors Light for him. And if we can figure it out, we get Keystone Light. So Jenny, my wife, goes to the store yesterday before my parents were supposed to arrive, or actually on Wednesday. And it was my dad's birthday on Wednesday. So she gets him a birthday card and a 4-pack of Tall Boys of Coors Light.
Yeah.
And is like, this will be a great birthday present for your dad. We'll give him a card. We'll tell him we love him.
Fancy stuff first
give him
before
some
he
Tall
dives
Boys.
into the
Yeah, we'll give him some Coors Light that we spent the extra nickel on. You know what I mean? And so we give him that. And then, but she says, but I was at the Dollar General here in Jack's Beach, and they have Keystone Light 15 packs for like $6 or $7 or something. So when these 4 Tall Boys run out, we'll go over to Dollar General and we'll get them a 15-pack of Keystone Light, and everything's going to be good for the rest of the Thanksgiving holiday. And so my folks actually show up, and we give them the card, and we give them the Tall Boy of Coors Light. We're really proud of ourselves, and we know that we've got Keystone back at the Dollar General in our hip pocket if we need it, right?
When you need it.
When we need it, yeah, not an if, but when. And so we're feeling really good about ourselves. And my dad goes out to the car to grab their bags and like bring them in and stuff. And what does he come in with? A 15-pack of Keystone Light. And he says, did you know the Dollar General has 15 packs of Keystone Light? It's less than 50 cents a beer. And I was like, I actually did know that.
Yeah. And it's a 15-pack. Awesome.
What's better than 3 free beers? Those 3, I don't know which 3 in the pack. Maybe it's the 3 that are at the end and like the special color-coded, like these 3 are free kind of thing.
It's the 3 that you need the most.
Do those 3 taste better than the other 12?
I think so. They're free, right? You already said, we're just establishing some rules here, right? One of them is a free beer is great. It's better.
Does anyone want to argue with that rule? I mean, I guess you could argue it depends on the kind of beer.
No, you
blah,
can't.
But
No, actually, that argument is invalid.
Could we have some scientific evidence on this, by the way? Because people come into GORUCK.
Yeah.
And whenever they come in, and I used to be one of these people, years ago, people come in, you hand them a free cold beer, and it's always a Budweiser, pretty much, I guess. Yeah, pretty much. And guess what? They always drink it. And they seem to always like it.
They say thank you, right? That's what you say. Someone hands you a beer, you say thank you. It's a simple thing. Not, is this blueberry infused? No.
You've got a real thing against blueberry
That is
beer,
not what you say. Is this blueberry? Can I drink this with my pinky out? No. That is not what you say, right? You say thank you. This is awesome. And then you drink it like a man or like a woman. Whichever, and I mean that, like, our community,
we have some tough women in our community.
Awesome.
We have some tough women in our immediate lives, but we have some tough women in our broader.
Yeah, it's sort of a window into the community.
Yeah. Okay, so One other thing that I wanted to make sure we talked about before we just get completely off the rails, which I'm in favor of too, by the way.
Let's get off the rails.
Yeah.
You need some entertainment while you're waiting in Walmart.
Is anyone watching this on their phone right now while waiting in line at Best
if
Buy?
you're waiting in line, here's some tactics, right, from a Green Beret, all right? What you need to do with your buddy is you need to wait back to back, right? So that if someone shows up with a knife or something like that, right, you've got 360 coverage around while you're in line. And sorry, that was definitely Budweiser infused right there. And if you are so inclined and you're a good Samaritan or whatever, be on the lookout, be the sheepdog in the line, and just be that person.
These are like literal Black Friday survival tips.
Black Friday survival tips. Back to back, both of you. Actually, you could probably because if you just want to listen to it, it's fine, you don't have to look at our faces that way. You can even share headphones, and you can just stream it off of one of your phones.
We're comfortable enough to share a set of earbuds.
Easy. Yeah. So that, your data doesn't run up or whatever, because Walmart never said, hey, here's the free Wi-Fi, do that while you're in here. They never said that, right? So you're on your own data plan, minimize the data, one phone, stream the GORUCK show right now, back to back though. I want to see someone post a picture back to back, waiting in the line at Walmart, scanning 360 to make sure that someone doesn't show up, looking to do harm when that last TV is up there, man. That's bad.
Yeah, as they get down to 3, 2, 1, 50-inch TVs remaining, it's gonna get frisky. So speaking of TVs, though, this is actually what I wanted to talk about. Is that there are some things in life that are just built to break eventually, right? It's like, what do they call that? Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, I think
is
that's
the term
the Ralph
used.
Nader thing about the car industry.
Yeah, you build things, they have a sort of a half-life or a shelf life. They're made to be used for a certain amount of time until they either break or become obsolete. Electronics, things like TVs and laptops and stuff. That's just the way it works. You buy one, you pay a certain amount for it, and then 3 years later there's one that's both better and cheaper, and so you buy that. And it's just kind of this thing. They're made to break.
It's natural, though. I mean, that part of it, the technology part.
Yeah, technology actually puts an interesting spin on it. But for me, if we want to talk about consumerist culture, which I don't want to get on my soapbox about this, we already said we're not here to judge.
But do it.
But I will a little bit. No, I think the problem is not with people buying stuff or wanting to buy stuff. I think the challenge we have with some of this, and I think what's making people less happy about the whole situation, is that I think we treat things that are really meant to be durables as consumables. Here's what I mean by that. There are some things you own, and you really only need to buy one or two over a lifetime. You buy a good 20-ounce hammer for your toolkit. You can buy one of those and you're good. I'll be 70 years old and probably have the same hammer.
Yeah, my grandfather's is over there in the toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a durable item. It is meant to take a beating. You're meant to have it for a long, long time. It's not meant to be bought and then eventually replaced. Not really, anyway, right? And I think what we do too much of is we buy those types of things, and then in a year or 2 years or whatever, a new one comes out that's 3% better, or it's newer, or we're bored, and
some
so
asshole
we
in
buy
marketing flipped a story that says
someone
convince you of some nuanced BS that's just whatever, right?
Yeah, and that to me,
use your grandfather's hammer, right? It's pretty simple.
Yeah, my dad still has the one that he had before I was born. It's got the wooden handle on it. It's still good, still works. Maybe it's technically not as good as the ones with the new polymer handle that's curved a little bit at the bottom to fit your pinky on it or whatever, but it's fine.
My grandfather built that workbench back there. That was in the basement of his house in Kettering, Ohio for 40 years. I mean, you could not get me to show me any workbench in the world. I mean, made out of whatever from some whatever and wherever, and all these things that these places would tell you makes it so much better. And I'm not trading. I want that one.
Yeah, I have a workbench in my garage actually that I built a platform
next to your dagger.
Next to my dagger, yeah. Below my army plaques that are outside in the garage.
All your cool stuff.
Yeah, all the cool stuff. But I built a platform for a bed because I didn't want to buy a bed, back to my frugality. So I bought some 2x4s and some plywoods, 3/4-inch plywood, and I built a platform for a bed that the box spring and the mattress could sit on top of, right? Years ago. And then I didn't want it anymore.
Can someone explain to me why we need elevated beds besides to put shit you don't need underneath it?
It's so your small children can hurt themselves when they fall off of
Yeah,
it.
or the
Everyone knows that.
monster has a harder time getting up when he gets older or something. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Put you can save thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars maybe
Box spring
over the
mattress,
course of a
that's it.
lifetime. It's just box spring mattress. You just put the little thing over it. It looks great. It's awesome.
It's good advice. But if I went to your house right now, what's going on in your
You
bedroom?
would actually see we don't have a.
Really?
Yes, I've won that one.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not buying it.
Wow. Stand corrected.
It's
okay.
been that way since forever. I don't own, that scene from Pulp Fiction about I'm an oak man, are you an oak man, right? And he gives him all that cash because, I want to help you, Mr. Wolf, blah, 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 right? I'm an oak man, Like I'm a floor mattress man. I don't understand the purpose of that. But anyway, if I did understand the purpose of it, which you're about to tell me, then I would also try to build it myself if I could, which I probably can't. So I defer to you.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to explain to you the purpose. I'm not really sure myself. But if your wife wants one, then you build it.
That's the
right?
purpose then, right? We're back to the rules thing.
So you save money. So it becomes a compromise. Because if your wife wants one, and you really don't think it's necessary,
it's
you don't wanna
always
spend-
a drug deal.
You don't want to pay like hundreds of dollars for one. What you do is you say, you know what, I can take care of this. And you go to Home Depot or whatever, or Lowe's, and you buy some 2x4s and plywood. And you come home and you spend the day in the driveway measuring and cutting, and you make a platform for the bed. Anyway, eventually the platform was no longer needed, and so my dad and I sat in the garage in the driveway one day outside Fort Bragg, and we backed all the screws out of this thing, and we just deconstructed this platform. And we had quite a bit of plywood and 2x4s left, and we built a workbench, because then I was like, well, what I could use is actually a workbench. And so we built a workbench, the one that's in my garage right now, out of the remnants of this platform that I'd built.
Man,
and we
Freud
did not
would have a field day or something about all this, right?
bed to workbench. We didn't buy another scrap of wood though. Like we engineered it and measured, and we figured out what we had, and we built this workbench, which it's pretty nice actually. I'm not gonna say it's nicer than that one because it was your grandfather's.
No, but it's
pretty nice.
the same concept though, right?
It's engineered well.
Yeah, it looks good.
And we built it out of just the remnants of this thing. So we turned a scrap, something that I didn't need anymore, into a workbench, which I actually did need. And this was probably 2007 or 8 maybe.
You probably love it a lot more because you did it with your dad too.
Yeah, well, my wife and I have had conversations about this, and we've said, do we really need this workbench? Do you use it that much? Which, A, I think we do. It's actually nice to have. But B, it's very hard for me to part with it because first of all, I built the bed with my own 2 hands, and then my dad and I spent a day figuring out how to make a
Drinking
platform.
Keystone Light.
Yeah,
It was not a
probably
Coors Light day. A lot of volume, I'm sure. It took a long time. It was a Keystone Light kind of day. Hot day or a cold day at Fort Bragg?
God, I don't even remember what time of year it was. I think it was chilly though. If I remember correctly, I think it was like January, February, which it never gets that cold there, but they have real winter there.
Yeah.
It's cold if you're
Depends
exposed.
on what you're doing.
Yeah, if you're exposed to the elements, it can get pretty cold. But anyway,
15 and sideways rain and, sweat
It's
for
always
6
worse.
hours
At Camp
and then lie
McCall's
down.
worse than-
Yeah, lie down in an ambush line and wait for, the whatever to show up.
Well, speaking of Thanksgiving being my favorite holiday, I spent 2 in a row. I spent 2004 and 5 at Camp McCall. I did.
awesome.
I was in SFAS during.
Surrounded by so many great
04.
Americans.
Yeah. They actually
Just
fed us,
taking the
fed
holiday
us a
in.
Thanksgiving meal. I was like my first or second week of SFAS. First week of SFAS.
Selection, yeah.
Yeah, of selection 04. And they actually fed us like a chow hall, turkey, and instant
very
mashed
kind of
potatoes.
them.
Whatever. Yeah, it was really nice. And then the next year, 05, I was in SEER school. I was actually in the RTL. I was in prison
The
camp.
class right after I
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah. Jesus. I was very thankful to get out of SEER school on that holiday. But anyway, long way around to saying there are certain things that are meant to be durables. You're meant to hang on to them and use them for a long time and get a lot of value out of having them. And so the price you pay for them or the work you put into making it or whatever ends up being almost inconsequential in the end. Because like that workbench, now I've had it for a decade, and it's lived in 5 or 6 different houses and moved around, and like whatever money it costs to build that thing or whatever time I spent on it is basically inconsequential, because when you smooth it out over however many years, it doesn't matter. And like
It's also irreplaceable.
yeah, it's also irreplaceable. And well, rucks are kind of the same way. Like my GR1, which I use every single day, the cost per usage on that ends up being like cents, if anything, right? When you factor it out over a period of years, and I don't want to trade it because it's mine.
Yeah.
Like a new one, I guess would be cool, but like I like mine. It's broken in. It's mine. I've got a lot of memories.
Every
with
once
it,
in a
you know,
while, I
like-
see a new one. Actually, the Arid one. We were wearing that around, right? Because Arid, you know, it's awesome. And it's like to see a brand new one show up in the box. It's got a good feel. I get what the allure is, but the sort of shopping as a hobby thing. I mean, I'd rather go do more cool stuff.
Yeah, but like the thing is, rucks aren't toilet paper. You know, there are some things that are consumables.
That's a key for people.
Yeah.
Rucks are not toilet paper.
You're meant to buy them, use them, and then get rid of them. But like some things,
Just like toilet paper,
You're
though.
meant to have better stuff that you can then use over a long period of time. Like here, this is a poor example, so forgive me, but.
He doesn't want to say this example.
No, but
he's digging. He's fishing in his mind for a better
God,
example right now.
So, because Monster's laying right there, and I don't want to upset him, but I know a lot of people that have paid a lot of money for dogs,
Hey, come here.
and people are like, "Oh God, why would you? It's so expensive or whatever." But like, here's the thing: there's no such thing as a free puppy. Like, what you pay for a dog is irrelevant because over the course of 10 or 15 or 18 years, like you're gonna spend more money on that dog and have more memories with that dog than whether you paid $20 for it or $1,500 for it or whatever. Like let's hold for the argument of rescuing dogs versus whatever. Like the money is irrelevant is my point, right? And so it just doesn't matter. And like that's the way I feel about all the things I have that are awesome. Like I have a $2,000 guitar. And I don't ever, not one day, ever regret having that guitar. It's been the only one I've bought since 2004. And so I play it every day. I like it. I've never been tempted to buy another one because I just ponied up and got the best one right out of the gates. And I'm good now. And like I don't really want another Ruck.
So
I'm
let's take on some of the questions from the community about why some stuff is on sale and other stuff is not. I mean, how in this sort of universe of we're playing by other people's rules. How does Monster determine, Monster, the face of GORUCK, the beautiful, beautiful face of GORUCK? And by the way, if you're listening, not watching, Monster is sitting in my lap. He's very happy. He just enjoyed a little bit of Budweiser. He's staring at an Arid 10-liter bullet.
Who
Very
likes
happy.
Budweiser more, Monster or Ryan? It's got to be Ryan, right?
Ryan loves Budweiser.
I've never seen a kid do that before.
He loves it. Right? He hears that sound, the smell, whatever it is. He's teething, right? He's teething.
Oh,
right?
so it makes sense then. It's actually like for medical purposes. If you think
Medical
about it.
purposes.
Makes his like
I mean,
gums numb or-
whiskey. I mean, he probably would like whiskey. He's a McCarthy, and a good one at that, right? And
Yeah.
so he probably like whiskey, but beer's good. Budweiser's good. So anyway, why is some stuff? All right, Hey, Facebook Live, we're freezing for 1 second. You can stare at Monster.
Memory card change in the camera. Nick is moving really slow.
Yeah, so
right
for
now.
Facebook Live, we shoot this stuff for Facebook Live, but also for YouTube and
Eventually
a podcast that I heard it's launching really, really soon. I don't know that.
like tomorrow, I think.
Like tomorrow or tonight or something. 10 minutes from now, I don't know, something like that. We'll be really excited to announce it, which we will. And so anyway, we're changing the card on the Royal We. Monster's overseeing, he's directing. And so changing the card on the one that stores the higher resolution stuff for
Do people really
for
need us
YouTube.
in higher resolution? I mean, we want to do a nice job to be professional and whatnot, but they don't need it.
Well, it shouldn't look ghetto,
So, Bomber. Yes. Do we have questions from the community on Black
But no,
Friday?
the first one, let's just take it on, which is why philosophically is some stuff on sale and other stuff isn't?
It's actually a philosophical question, but there's some, I don't know, I guess there's some business rules that drive that. So the first thing I would say is that stuff that we want to sell, and that can be defined in a lot of different ways, but stuff that we want to move, we typically are going to put on sale versus stuff that we don't care as much if it moves. The other factor is
Inventory determines these things. I mean, it's
inventory.
it's
determines
really
a lot, yeah.
simple.
If we have too much of some things, they're likely to be on sale,
Yeah.
or more likely to be on sale than things that we either don't have enough of or could run out of or whatever. Because again, if something at full price is selling at a rate that we might run out of it before we can get more of it, there's really not much of an incentive to put it on sale because they're selling at full price at such a rate that we don't want to run out of them before we can have more, which will also maybe sell at full price. But I mean, there are other factors that go along. I mean, you wrote a thing a couple days ago about black GR1. I mean, there are certain things that we just don't really put on sale because they're kind of flagship anchors of our brand, and we believe that they're worth every penny that we ask for them, probably more. And
we also really understand the demand curve of GR1. So someone goes onto the site and you can view how many units we have in inventory of a specific unit, which is not a lot of people do.
Well, yeah, which by the way, we make public on the website. When you click on an
published.
item in a color or whatever, you can see how many we have in inventory.
You're going to go to GR1 Black, and you're going to say, man, it's not on sale, it's $295, and they have, how many do we have? Thousands? 1,500, 1,300?
We've got between both sizes, probably a couple thousand.
Yeah, 20, sub 3,000. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot, right? Sub 3,000, it's still, that's a lot. And so, but we understand that those are gonna move, and it's really good inventory for us.
Well, yeah, because even when we put some of the colors on sale, we still sell more blacks than anything else.
We know what the demand curve is, so come Q1, I mean, what we don't, and I mean, what is not on there that's not going to be on anybody's site is how many you have on order for the future, right? So you have to understand your own sales velocity, and then you have to say, okay, I'm expecting to be able to sell this many, and then you either ratchet that up or ratchet that down for the next purchasing. So we order from our vendor about 4 times a year right now. Sometimes it should be more than that, but right now it's 4 times a year. And so, you know, you sort of stack and rack what you want to show up first within a certain quarter, and then you're able to adjust what comes in and when for the next quarter. And so, you know, Black GR1 is one of those things, back to the early days, I'd be really happy if we perfectly understood demand curves and never had to put things on sale.
You can't, though. You
just
can't,
can't
because
do
look,
that.
you studied economics in college. I studied economics in college, and like the fundamental assumption of all economic theory is that consumers they're perfectly rational and self-interested actors, right? I think that's the doctrinal thing. And guess what? Human beings are neither perfectly rational or perfectly self-interested. And so, like, we just don't know what's going to happen all the time, and we do our best to understand it over a long period of time.
All of a sudden, the Danish tulip craze, or you know, Elmo dolls, people knifing people at wherever because Johnny needs an Elmo doll.
Exactly. You
know,
introduce a color like Arid, which explodes, and you're having a very hard time keeping up with demand and all that. So, like,
a lot of people fighting for the forces of good in you know, East Bloc countries. Like, they're blending in. I'll tell you that. You know, they're off the radar.
yeah. So you guys probably don't care. You want to know what's on sale, and I get it. So, Bomber, send it. Questions from the community.
Apparel, rucking hoodie versus the windbreaker. How would you decide which one to get if you're only going to buy one?
Rucking hoodie versus the windbreaker if you could only buy one. That's tough because they are very different pieces of gear. The rucking hoodie is in the Polar Tech material, which is the same as like the long sleeve
half
rucking
zip.
shirt or the half zip. So I would only compare the hoodie to the long sleeve rucking shirt or the half zip personally.
Hey,
'cause it's a
Monster's
little
gonna
heavier.
probably say goodbye real quick. There's a silent protest going on, just a little bit. You know, he wants these roles to be reversed, and that's not going to happen. So
He also, ever since his incident with the rope toy, farts kind of a lot. So there's a healthy distance.
he's doing
to make.
better though. Man, it was bad for a while.
Is his super designer
He's doing a
Pinky
lot.
Up food helping him with?
Man, it is expensive, sort of gastro whatever food. There's no blueberries infused or anything.
No, it's
Okay,
all.
it's still
okay.
dog food flavored dog food, right?
Whatever
it's
you
sort of
say.
beef,
Whatever you
whatever, or
say.
something like that, right, Monster? And he's very excited to get it. And he's not a blueberry kind of guy. So anyway, I'm putting down Monster to say bye for this episode, probably unless he really hangs out. But here he goes. All right, go on, good boy.
So I think we were talking about the hoodie versus the windbreaker. So the hoodie is it's a heavier material. It's not as water resistant. It's like if it's cool but drier and you want to use it, like it's good. It's super versatile, all that stuff. You can wear it with shorts. You can wear it with pants. It looks good. It dresses up a little bit, but it's a hoodie. So you figured that out.
It's black, but it doesn't have big logos and stuff all over it. So it doesn't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so it's cool.
It's not really a fair comparison, as I think what they're just completely
they're not the same.
different.
The windbreaker is super
one.
lightweight, which I'm actually wearing it right now. The windbreaker is a different material. It's like kind of the same material as the pants, the simple pants or the challenge pants.
It's in fact exactly the same material.
Exactly the same, the tough dry material. So it's super, super lightweight, sheds water a little better. I wear it a lot now because like in Florida, the temperatures are in the 50s and 60s a lot. So it's like
Freezing ass cold.
yeah, it's kind of chilly if you're riding your bike to work and stuff. So like it's kind of all you need.
Or if you go outside, it's kind of cold.
I like it because it packs down to like this size, and I can stick it in my ruck, and then I can shake it out at the end of the day and it doesn't wrinkle very much or whatever. So
Sometimes I've thrown it in my back pocket.
yeah.
So
So I don't know. They're totally different pieces of kit. If you're going to get one, I don't know. I guess it would depend on the conditions. If you live somewhere where it's like kind of breezy and cool and rains a little bit, maybe you want the windbreaker. But I don't know.
yeah, it's
I
different.
mean, they're
All
totally
right,
different.
well, we talked in circles. Hopefully that helps. What's up?
Hope that was not helpful at all. Go ahead.
Okay, I did want to mention that Ragnar, Shredder, Mickey B, Flash, and J-Dub were watching today. Those cadre and the Marine Corps did outnumber SF guys watching. And Ragnar.
Oh, the Marine Corps outnumbered in
Cadre.
quantity, but never quality. People, I mean, don't go talking to two Green Berets about what's
Value
the soft,
per
yeah,
individual.
what's
the
the
Green
rules of
Beret is
soft,
always gonna
guys? We
win.
love you all, but come on, you know, don't come into here picking those fights. You know,
Soft truths, quality over quantity. It's
Yeah.
a soft truth, Bomber.
it's easy.
Also, Ragnar was working out during the video today.
Good.
Right? Isn't he always working out?
Always.
I
That's
don't
all
think
Ragnar does, I
think
thought.
Ragnar
Yeah,
works out.
Ragnar is definitely the guy that's got the sort of, you know, the hand, the forearm strengthener when he's at his, you know, he can Beethoven one-handed while he does and then he switches and he's squeezing it, getting bigger, you know, it's
He's
awesome.
committed to optimal performance. I'll say that. He also has like a $4 million Taj Mahal of a gym at his house.
Yeah, it's bigger than this space here.
Which, if I ever make it out to Eastern Idaho, which is unlikely, but if I ever do, I'm definitely gonna make
Yeah.
a point of working out in Cadre Ragnar's gym because it is insane,
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Bomber, what else do you
Was
have?
there a question in that?
No, there's
because
no question.
We completely
Bomber
sniped
just
your,
only wants to make statements about
Yeah,
the Marine
Bomber wants
Corps.
to make
So,
statements
we
about
should
how great
start-
the Marine Corps
we
is.
should start having someone else
Yeah.
ask the questions. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, we're,
Let Shredder know I can block him from the tough page. He's being mean. Also, will you explain as far as, because you mentioned earlier about your ruck that's very dear to you.
Mhm.
What happens if you do send in one of your rucks about what they can do for you if it does need to be replaced with a panel?
So you're saying explain scars.
Yes.
So if,
Yeah.
if you are somehow able to just wear your ruck plain out, and it is jacked up beyond repair, is that the question? What do you do if you have a ruck long enough and you ride it hard enough that it's just beat up beyond repair? I don't know,
Yeah,
Jason.
so there's been a couple things over the course of the years where it's kind of standard within the industry, the outdoor industry. If you send something in and they say, hey, we're not sending this back to you, we'll send you a new one or whatever. And their goals in that are, and we had a lot of philosophical debates about how we should go about this. Their goals in that are to prevent a bad piece of gear, a defective piece of gear, if you will, from being out there in the market that will fail. So you can imagine a world where someone sends a, you know, if you send a bad piece of gear back to someone and then they go to fight a war and that fails in a war, that's bad, right? So you don't want that yet. At the same time, you're balancing this with someone bought this is theirs. And so what's the sort of right trade-off? And so for us, essentially, you know, if it's pretty rare. I mean, I work at Scars. I see the amount of boxes that go out every day. It's not a lot. You know, it's not a lot because our rucks don't fail with great frequency.
We have one full-time person that does this.
Yeah, we're happy to overpay for this service and to proudly display it front and center because it's a good security blanket. You know, I mean, you spend a lot of money on a ruck. It should come from a place that stands by it. Not from the standpoint of, hey, I made cheap shit and you broke it and I'm hoping that you don't send it in for a rebate or whatever. Those gimmicks and stuff that are just terrible, right? And then if you finally get to wherever they finally maybe, and you'll feel terrible about the whole process, and then they might send you a new piece of shit that you're going to break in the exact same velocity that you broke the first time.
That's how insurance companies work, right? Their move is just deny your first claim and hope that you won't just
Yeah,
keep
I've seen
fighting
The
it.
Incredibles, you know? So with Scars, if you send something in, and let's say, for instance, that, you know, the shoulder straps or, you know, the zipper busted, which, by the way, the zipper is kind of one of those things that, you you have to take some responsibility over how you prepare or protect your own zip. You cannot take, for instance, a ruck plate in the laptop compartment of a GR1, turn it upside down, drop it on the zipper, and then send it to us and say, oh, well, it broke, right? We're not gonna replace the zipper, and it's probably a 5-6 hour rebuild to replace that. It's single thread by single thread of getting rid of it. And so there's some onus on you guys. All of that said, Scars has a great reputation because we do right by you guys. And so there are times where a ruck has to be retired. And so we'll take a ruck and we'll, SP will the front panel, turn it into a, what do we call it? No, it's not turned into wire. It's just turned into a half fold. Is Joe there? Hey, Joe, what do we call the thing that we create out of the front panel of a GR1?
3-pocket pouch.
A 3-pocket pouch. So we'll send that to you. It's sort of like, if
the memories live on.
The memories live on,
yeah.
Right? And so we don't sell that. It's not something that, we're not going to come out with 3-pocket pouches or something.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to, some other day in the future, in 100 years, there'll be another CEO at GORUCK, and you will not create 3-pocket pouches for sale, right? This has to come from...
You have to earn it.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those things. So, a lot of times it's just, look, you guys do excessive stuff to the rucks. A lot of times it's, hey, a sewer missed a stitch by a fraction of a millimeter, and over time, 1,000,000 miles with 1,000,000 pounds later, that sort of, shot that you fire here that is off by a fraction of a millimeter, when you put it under an infinite amount of stress, 1,000 miles later, it's off by too much. And so, it's always a conversation ultimately. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, this is exactly what happens every time. But the reason why Scars has a really good reputation is because we do right by you guys. And we understand the idea, as you were talking about with your GR1, of these things having sentimental value.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. At the end of the day, the guidance is, we will go more than halfway to meet you in the middle here. Like our goal is not to make enemies, and it's just to do right by people. Do we occasionally lose on that deal because some people want to take advantage of the arrangement? Like maybe. So you guys do us a favor. If you buy a ruck, do awesome stuff with it, ride it hard. If something fails or breaks, by all means send it in. We'd be very happy to fix it. Just don't be dicks and try to game the system and buy something that's already broken, second or third hand. And it's that's the deal. We're able to do this and probably be more generous than we would need to be in some cases because we just want to do right by people and we don't want to make enemies. So your half of the deal is just be a good dude about it and we're fine.
I mean, I think on the back end, peel the curtain back a little bit. It's really hard to get people into when you're a company, if you're starting out, the hardest thing is to get anyone to support you, right? Outside of your immediate circle of family and stuff, your dad's buddy might buy a ruck, give him a half-off code, stuff like that, right? But it's really hard once you have people in your ecosystem. It's new people are really hard to get. It's really expensive from a marketing perspective to get new people to adopt. So the last thing that you want to do is lose the people that have adopted, right? If someone knows about you and is writing in and cares about what a service you're providing, take care of them. It's impossible for bean counters to measure what the second, third order effects are of just being nice, going above and beyond, under promise, over deliver. It's impossible to measure that.
This is why we love things like the Tough Group and we love customer service and all that, because when people stop communicating with you, it's too late. It's too bad.
Silence is terrible.
Yeah, so if you own a small business and your customers are bitching, then look, at least you're still in the game. At least they're still talking to you. At least you have a chance to let them be heard, and you have a chance to make it right. And maybe you need to dig into your wallet and over-deliver a little bit to make it right, which we all do from time to time. But having customers complain or having people bitch is not a problem for us.
Yeah,
that means that we're still engaged. That means you still care enough to write in and let us know if you were unhappy with something or whatever. So,
the Tough Group has over 20,000 people on it now, and I think it's just the heart rate of, the pulse of what's going on and what people are want to talk about. Maybe not always on Wednesdays because it gets a little crazy on there, but that's fun too, right?
Because they're weirdos.
But you know, I have a personal Facebook account. Imagine that. You know, so does this guy. So do lots of us that work here, Bomber, everyone. And so, you know, we're accessible, and that's, you know, I'm on Reddit as well pretty frequently. There's a subreddit for GORUCK, and sometimes it's important just to validate what people are saying. Hey, I hear this. This is what's going on. Yeah. That's worth a lot, I think. And so, you know, people just want to be treated like people. Yeah. And so, as a business, though, the onus is on us. It's not on, the ultimate onus is on us to do right by you. It's rare is the day when anybody has crossed the line where we just say, hey, sorry, right? It's happened. And I think that's a normal, natural thing. But
anytime, there's always going to be
very. I mean, it's so rare. It's like, you know, it's like relative to selection. It's probably percentage-wise the amount of times we've told people, "Hey, this isn't for you. Leave." Everybody taps out at selection, right? Let's talk about selection. Want to? Just roll into it.
No.
No. All right. Let's not talk about selection. Let's talk about
makes my knees hurt just thinking about
it. Happiness and other things. Arid. Boom.
Bomber?
Three more things.
3 more things. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's 3 in 1. Badass Babes of GORUCK.
Badass Babes of GORUCK.
Asking about female apparel for girls.
Yeah.
Then we got some stuff on the deck right near you.
Yeah.
I want to show and tell.
Hey, you can come up here and show and tell that.
Bomber's. Whoa! This is
Whoa.
Bomber's first
Boom.
on-camera appearance.
Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah,
Bomber Bash.
This form of tiger stripe.
Yeah. This is Tiger Stripe A, right? It's the Tiger Stripe A.
It's multi-striped.
Favorite GORUCK color ever.
Java. So funny little story on Java is when we first got them in, I remember I drove to Fernandina Beach to just take pictures. I had Java, imagine that with me in the car. And even when I went back in my iPhoto, all those pictures, there was a Coyote Plus Java shoot. And all of the, I titled all of the pictures brown, you know, GR1_brown. And I just didn't like that very much, eventually. So it's like, no, we're just gonna call these Java. It's gonna be awesome. And you know, as Java's staring down from heaven right now, it's pretty cool for me. So it's one of those colors that I'm glad you all like. It's a staple here. It's kind of an emotional one for me a bit. So I'm happy that you all have also liked it. And that's cool. Anyway.
Camo green.
Camo green, there you go. That's a brand new one. And it's also got the spearhead, the badass spearhead based on unit insignia for Special Forces. You know, pointing right, attacking, charging the enemies. Full steam ahead. That's how we roll. Right there, it's embroidered very subtly on the webbing. Right. I hear a lot of
no
things.
Longer on.
I hear a lot of things about how nobody bought these. Right. Oh, it was there. Nobody bought those. So this is where feelings and math are oftentimes a little bit different.
This is what we call stated preferences versus revealed preferences in the economic world. Yeah.
Look, I like this. I like that a lot, frankly. You know?
I do too. I like it better, but we sold out of Rutgers.
I like it
this
better.
month with
I'm
them up
not
there.
going to say that that's never going to come back. I'm just going to say that, you know, this is where it is for now.
You guys let us know.
Yeah, that's where it is for now. We'll see.
Sort of
Best camo
GBF
pattern in the
colors.
world.
Yeah, and then this is also Tiger Stripe, right?
That's tiger stripe.
This is also Tiger
Tiger Stripe number 2.
That's awesome. Tiger Stripe number 2. That's cool. I get very kind of sentimental about this pattern. You wore this for how long?
As long as I could, until the Army forced me to start wearing the mint green and gray
The
bullshit
ACUs?
ACU.
No.
Also, the Coyote Molly on these instead of the black or the dark green. This looks good. I like the woodland better with the lighter Molly.
Bomber, just pull a chair up. This is getting weird.
Bomber's got a bullet that he uses every day.
Here,
but
sit in the middle because you'll catch both our mics then. Here. Don't be so weird about it. Don't be so weird about it, Bomber.
What do you have here?
Navy. Oh, and I have the hoodie they were talking about.
Oh, Bomber's wearing the hoodie.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait to get one. He was afraid the hoodie was going to sell out like the half zip.
So we get these things
Lee
about
is wearing one over there
Navy.
as well.
Sometimes photos are hard to represent what something looks like in reality. It's just, you know, there's lights and there's whatever. The Navy is Navy. It's sort of bluer than blue jean Navy. How does that sound, right?
Yeah, it looks really blue in some of our photos, but in reality, it's almost black next to it's dark.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Dark Navy. Maybe we should just call it dark Navy. I'll bet you that would do better. Right?
Blackwater.
Is
I
that
don't know.
fair? Dark navy, right? I mean, because like, well, again, we're not playing by our rules. We can just say, oh,
Yeah.
here's a
But
perfect.
some of our photos, this is on us. They look kind of this color.
Yeah.
But the pants and the shorts are actually that color.
Do you blame Nick?
But we blame Nick fully. We blame us. It's
we
our fault.
blame it's our fault.
It's our fault.
Yeah.
One last thing for the drinking game.
One last thing for the drinking game.
You have to
That's
shotgun
pretty
a beer
awesome.
now.
This is a gourd, friends.
Cool.
I believe
What
y'all-
else?
That's it. Oh, apparel for women.
Oh, apparel for women. So we have the process for that is just all this changing.
It's the same as the process for everything, which is hard.
It's hard, right? So the first step is to determine a fit block, which we have. Then you sort of gather some pieces that other people build that you like, but not enough, right?
Yep.
Because that's always the case. If you like something else, if it's perfect, then just great, go do this, you know. But our take on apparel is kind of the simpler the better, and so you know we've got a fit block, we've got those pieces at our factory in KL, where I'll work with Joe and his team out in Spokane, and our fit block, Lindsay. And we'll sort of, you know, we roll in-house at GORUCK. This is not some, you know.
Yeah, all the models are GORUCK employees.
Yeah,
pretty
all the
much.
models,
Yeah.
right?
Or
This
boyfriends
guy,
or
I mean,
girlfriends.
like this guy, Blayne, puts on one of these and boom, it's just gone, you know?
Pretty.
Right?
You know, I had a lot of hoodie selling experience in my previous job, so as Nick pointed out earlier this week. So I can sell a
Yeah.
hoodie. I mean, I don't know about everything else, but you need
So-
to move hoodies.
There is some back and forth on, I don't have any pieces yet or anything like that, but it's a process. It's going, I promised 2018.
It will happen.
I promised 2018 that something would happen. Here's the good news, is that something is a sign of more thing.
It's hard.
How's that?
Well, here's the thing. Apparel is hard, no doubt about it. Because, like, look, rucks, we have a couple different sizes, but rucks are more or less kind of one size fits all, right? Apparel is not that way at all. I mean, in pants, you're looking at waist and length and every permutation of that. And then even depending on your build, it could be the right waist and the right length and still not really fit you the way that you want. And then when you get into women's apparel, it's actually just like at least twice as hard, if not 3 times as hard, because it's still waist and length, but there's several different like versions of the fit block and like how people want it to fit. And like we could look at it and be like, I think that looks fine, fits good, but if the woman wearing it doesn't like the way it fits, then
Yeah, so
no
it was
bueno. So
important
it's really hard.
It was important to integrate, imagine this, for developing a women's line, women, into the process, which will continue, you know, and so it's sort of, you know, the fit block established, and then the pattern tech in Spokane it's another female. So it's like, you know, you're getting a lot of experience, and it's Amana out at KL. She's awesome. I've worked with her a lot in the past, and she brings a lot of experience having done a lot of women's apparel in the past. So, you know, it just takes time, like everything else. I mean, if it were simple, it would be done quickly, but it's not.
And we want it to be good, obviously,
Yeah.
or great.
Yeah.
So that's part of the
But
challenge.
what you can expect is some stuff like the guys' stuff, but made for women. I mean, like the guys' stuff, meaning philosophically in terms of it's simple, it's tough, it's performance, it works. It's sort of, there's no, you know, the bells and the whistles are at a minimum, and that's for 2 reasons. Number one, always look cool, simple, ages really well. And number 2 is that the more stuff that you add to something, the more labor it is, the more, and doing that stuff in America when almost all of your competitors are at, you know, price points that are really high, but they're doing it overseas. I mean, you go see these $160 pants at REI or wherever that are made wherever. I mean, country, you know, B through Z basically, and the multiples on those are enormous. But there's so many middlemen. And with us, the good news is that there's no middleman. So, you know, you can buy it from GORUCK. That's the deal.
Yeah, and bottom line, like we're still all ears. Like we want to make stuff you want.
Yeah.
I think that's really important for us is to make stuff that you actually want. So let us know.
Cool.
What else? We good?
That's it. I got
Black Friday.
Go wait in lines. Stand there, but if you do it back to back, that's the deal.
If you're going to wait in line. But don't wait in line. All right. See ya.